So I've got this tropical strength insect repellent spray. You'll probably remember about 3 weeks ago at Llanberis at Dorbodan Castle, I got proper eaten alive by midges, and I think I've got this left over from New Zealand. So we're in Shropshire this evening. I think I'll probably give it a try, see how I get on with it. So hello, welcome back guys, and the foot is pretty much back in action now. I'd say it's probably about 90% sorted, and I didn't really want to go out on a big hike this weekend. I didn't want to risk aggravating it and just bringing the injury back again, so I'm just trying to play it a little bit cool this week, just a little bit more of a chilled out adventure. But of course, you know, I'm out with the camera, so that's the main thing. Now I'm in Shropshire and I've come back up to the Long Mynd, and I really do like this place. It's a really sort of vast, almost a big plateau of a landscape once you get up here. But one thing that I really like about it is that once you drive up, you can drive round and there's loads of different places to explore. And I think I've done 3 videos here in the past, and they've all been sort of centered around the same area of the Long Mynd, which is an area that I really, really like. However, this week I just decided to have a little bit of a walk, see how the foot's getting on, but just explore a bit more of a new area. Now you can see here this little bit of a pool here. There's a few of these knocking about up on the Long Mynd, and obviously you can't really call them lakes, they're not big enough. So I think pool would be the perfect word, but I've seen these a few times on the internet, and I think they're in 1 or 2 of my wild guide books as well. And I don't know, obviously they're not, you know, they're not absolutely spectacular, they're not mind-blowing, you know, it's not a classic sort of subject to that landscape photographers would flock to, but I've just always thought they'd be really interested in come and explore. So that's pretty much what I'm doing this weekend. I don't have a clue what I'm going to do photography wise. We're just getting into the golden hour now, so I haven't got ages to explore, but I did want to come out for the sunset. I must be honest, I'm feeling summer a little bit now. It's pretty much only just started, to be honest. We're past summer solstice, but it's just hard, isn't it? You know, sunset tonight is 25 to 10, I think. It's a Sunday night. I've got work tomorrow at 7 AM. I'm not all complaining. It just gets difficult as far as inspiration is concerned, but I'm hopefully going to try and get a little bit back today. And the main thing for me this week is just to make sure my foot's back in action so I can get back on my hiking adventures and wild camps and stuff, which is exactly what I want to be doing over summer, because it's made for it really, isn't it? But yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting, I think, quite challenging as well in terms of the landscape photography, but I'm looking forward to exploring this sort of new landscape. Right, so this is beautiful. This is way better than I imagined. You can see here, gorgeous scene. We've got a few Canadian geese swimming about over there merrily. It's really nice. There's not a lot of wind in the air, so it's quite a still. The water's very still on this pool here, which is fantastic. It means we might get some nice reflections come sunset. Now, what I'm kind of hoping to do here, actually, I wanted to talk about a couple of things to begin with before I got into the photography, so I'll talk about this in a minute. 2 things really. Firstly, you guys that follow me on Instagram probably know this already, but I finally finished my website. It's took me about 4 months, and it's been really, really hard, to be fair, like really difficult. But I'm finally there, and I'm absolutely delighted with it. I'm really proud of myself. Like, I love it, and I'd absolutely love for you guys to go and check it out. On top of that, again, I've mentioned this on Instagram, but I am selling prints, 5 limited edition prints only at this stage. And again, I'm really, really happy with them. I've put a lot of effort into them, and I just wanted to say, like, I'd love for you guys to go and check them out. I'll put a link in the video description and probably a link in the top corner here as well if I can. But yeah, I just wanted to say, like, if anybody does decide to purchase a print, like, it's so massively appreciated. Like, I haven't made any money at all really, except from the little pitiful amount of money they get off YouTube. I'm not in this for the money, of course, or else no one's in landscape photography for the money, are they? But I think all I'm trying to say is that if you do decide to purchase one of the prints, it will be massively, massively appreciated. The support will be appreciated. It just helps me crack on getting these videos done, and I absolutely love it. And it means so much that you guys like it as well, you know what I mean? So if you do decide to purchase one, thank you so much for the support. Secondly, calendar. Now, I need help again for June. Which photograph am I going to choose for June? I did this a couple of months back, and I really appreciated the help that you guys gave me. Just a bit of a dilemma. There's two photographs. I don't really know which one to choose for June. So the first one is the photograph that I got with the drone at Dolbadon Castle in Snowdonia. I really like that photograph. Light wasn't perfect, but I like the image, and I like the idea of having a drone photograph in the calendar as well. So it's between that one, and then secondly, a photograph that I got up Knicht when I went wild camping with Ian there 2 or 3 weeks ago. Again, I really like this photograph. Beautiful light over the land on in Snowdonia, and a little bit of a composite as well. We had a really nice pre-sunrise sky as well, which is something that I've never done before. So both for their own reasons, I'd really like to include them in the calendar. But yeah, above all, I'd just really like to get your guys' opinion. So if you could, just comment below the video, just number 1 or number 2. I'll give them both a number. Let me know which one's your favourite. Let me know which one you'd prefer to be in my calendar. I'd really appreciate it. And same as last time, you don't have to say why. I'd appreciate it if you just put a number, then I can get a bit of a count together, see what people prefer, I suppose, because I'm a little bit stuck. Now anyway, back to the Long Mynd. The sun's dipping down a little bit now, and I say this probably every week, but it's looking like we're going to get a nice sunset. It actually is, to be fair. And yeah, I'm going to get set up in a minute somewhere, but I wanted to explore around this pool a little bit more. Nice and still, it's looking like we're going to get some nice reflections. But what I've envisioned by just getting here really is cracking out the wide angle lens and trying to utilise all of this pool, all of this water here as a foreground element. Hopefully, fingers crossed, get some nice reflections. And if we do get a nice sky, again, just trying to accentuate that with the wide angle lens, shooting at 11mm. Really big sky, and hopefully we get some colours up there. And if they can get reflected in this pool, we could get a really nice photograph here. Something a little bit different up here on the Long Mynd as well. I'm often shooting in a complete opposite direction. But yeah, for now, we're just going to explore around a little bit and see what I can find. So about 10 minutes or so to the sunset, and what I've done is I've actually come back round from the lake that I was at before, the one with the Canadian geese. And this is going to sound ridiculous, but I'm wearing shorts, and recently I've developed a little bit of a phobia almost of ticks. And I think the reason I'm a bit afraid of them is just because I don't know a lot about them. I haven't done a lot of reading. But basically over there, like I mentioned, there's not a path around that pool, which is brilliant. But it just meant I had to walk through loads of reeds, and because I'm feeling a bit fragile about the ticks, I just didn't want to wander through all the reeds and risk it, because I couldn't quite get the correct angle that I wanted. But anyway, I came back to the first little pool or lake, whatever we're going to call it, to take my photograph, and that's what I'm set up at here now. And like I say, just under 10 minutes now till sunset, and to be fair, this is a nice composition. I do really like it, to be honest. It's not a world beater, but it's decent. It's nice, you know. And I think in order for this photograph to work, you know, for me to at least get a decent image here, I need the sky to light up. And it's looking pretty good at the minute. A lot of texture. We've got them gorgeous wispy clouds in the sky that often catch them high clouds, and yeah, it's looking quite nice. My composition is pretty straightforward, to be fair. I've got sort of 3 main groups of these reeds here in the foreground, 3 main bunches that I'm using as my foreground interest, really, obviously, except from the pool itself. And I've just tried to position them in a way that they're at the most interesting, so they allow the eye to lead nicely into the pool, really. And then obviously we've got the pool itself. It's pretty still, to be honest. There's the occasional wind gust, but it's not enough to sort of completely destroy any reflections that we're getting, which is fantastic, because the reason the sky is so important here is because we're getting a reflection of the sky as well in this photograph, in this composition. So it's a really big part of the whole image, this, to whether or not the sky is going to light up. So yeah, the pool's in a really nice position in the bottom 2/3 of the photograph, really. So it is the main subject, the main focal point of this photograph. But I also think the sky is really, really important. I keep mentioning that, but in terms of composition as well, I think it's massively important. And then, yeah, the sky's the top third, as simple as that. So my settings are ISO 100, f11, and at the minute, let me just change that, 1/1/3 of a second. It's a fairly long shutter speed. I'm trying to make sure I'm not shooting it when there's a gust of wind, as not to capture any movement in these reeds in the foreground. And it's nice, you know. My filters are quite important. I haven't got my polarizer on here deliberately because for once I don't want to cut through the glare. I want to capture that reflection in this water. And I've got my, what is this, 3-stop medium edge ND grad filter, just to bring down that sky. And one thing that I really like about this is, even though the sun has gone down below the horizon, because we're getting this reflection in the pool, we're also getting reflected light. So if we weren't photographing a pool of water here, it'd look quite dull. You know, a lot of this heather and these reeds behind me here looks really, really dull. Because we're getting this reflected light, it's actually reflecting. You can probably see it on my face now. It's reflecting, obviously, on the pool of water, but then also on these reeds here in the foreground, which is wonderful. It means we're getting a real sort of subtle light effect throughout the whole photograph. It's going to take a couple more there. To be fair, what time is it now? I think sunset might... Yeah, sunset's actually been and gone, to be honest, so I was completely lying to you. It's about 3 minutes after the sunset. Judging by a couple of these photographs, we've probably had the best of the light. But I'll probably stick around for another couple of minutes and see what happens, because so many times I've packed up, thought I've got the best of the light, got back to the car, and, you know, we just get a beautiful post-sunset sky. But yeah, I think this is gonna look pretty decent, and hopefully I haven't got any ticks in the legs as well. So yeah, I'm gonna wait around for probably another 5 or 10 minutes, see what happens with the sky. But obviously I'll show you guys the best of these photographs now. I really hope that you like it. So I really hope you like that photograph. I think we've definitely had the best of the light, and I also hope you liked it, because it's definitely going to be the only one of this week's video. I really enjoyed it this week. You know, I've only been out about an hour and a half, an hour even, but I think it's made me realise that you don't always have to go out on massive hikes to get the best out of your landscape photography and to enjoy your landscape photography. I think for me, especially with making these videos, it's a pressure that I often put on myself. And, you know, to be fair, I love my hikes, I love my big adventures, or else I wouldn't do them, simple as that. But it's not until I actually do this sort of smaller adventure that I realise it's actually quite nice to come out. You know, I'm often in landscapes where I'm really, really overwhelmed, and that's not to say that this isn't beautiful, this isn't attractive, but, you know, it's a little bit more subtle, and I feel, for me at least, I can chill out a little bit more and focus on my photography, which is obviously always a good thing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the photograph, and I really hope you enjoyed this week's vlog. And please do go over and check my website. I'd love you guys to check my prints out as well. I'm absolutely not a salesman. I get embarrassed about talking about this stuff. Perhaps I need to up my game a little bit, but I'm just a lad that enjoys landscape photography, and you know, I'd like to make a little bit of money from it to allow me to do it more, which is of course all of our dreams. But yeah, if anyone decides to purchase a print, you know, it's massively appreciated. So thank you so much for at least checking them out. That would be awesome. And as well, before I forget, please remember to comment number 1 or number 2 on them 2 photographs. Which one would you prefer to be in my calendar for the month of June? That would also be massively appreciated. So yeah, from me and my trusty Nikon D7200 in the wonderful Shropshire Hills, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you guys next week on the next adventure. Out.